just because the Terran can crank out so many of them in so little time. And it looks like these Lings and Mutas are going to try and catch these Marines out of position, snipe these medvacs if possible, but the Marines getting some good Muta kills right there. And I don't know if this is a good play by DRG. Those Marines are kiting those Lings like crazy. And yeah, if we look at that unit's loss tab, 1,000 minerals. Oh wow, and this is a gigantic push by the Terran player. However, DRG does catch a tank out of position. And now it's going to be up to DRG. He has got to engage this perfectly, but he does have an army in the back that he can use to snipe these tanks. And here come the Banelings trying to get some good hits, but wasting a lot of basically all those Banelings getting wasted on those siege tanks. And the micro by MKP there was just amazing, pulling those Marines back behind the siege tanks, and then basically just making DRG force, put some micro into putting those Banelings specifically on the Marines. And right now, Marine King is going to get cleaned up right here, but remember this, DRG has not been able to take a second base right now. He is on equal footing with the Terran player, which is not good for the Zerg. He needs to drop another base, which he's finally doing right now, and looks like, yep, there goes a fourth. Now this will put him back in a comfortable position if he can get these down. But if Marine King continues to do some heavy drops, this could be bad news. And the Muta's getting a couple shots on those medvacs, going ahead and sniping these reactors, which take a really long time to build. That's going to be really, really annoying for our Terran player to deal with. And this is kind of a risky play. Marine King is going to go ahead and try and drop a command center right here. I like using this position instead of coming down here to the 4 o'clock position. But he definitely needs to get some Marines out there to protect it. Now the nice thing about this area, especially if you're Terran, kind of Protoss, is that it's really easy to defend with siege tanks. You can put siege tanks right here, even right here, and those will defend it mainly from Ling surrounds, all sorts of stuff. If you put it down here, you're giving yourself a lot more surface area to defend. Oh, and DRG coming in and getting a nice little snipe of that siege tank. This is exactly what he needs to do right now. He needs to keep the Terran at his base, keep him from doing a lot of drops, and just do as much damage here and there. And the command center goes down, a huge blow to Marine King. That was a huge investment. 550 minerals because it was an orbital command, and now DRG is really liking his position. If we look at the units lost, he's back in the lead with that. He is feeling good. He's got Banelings. Let's see if he doesn't have Hive Tech yet, but he is working on 2 attack for his flyers. He's going to have 2 Banelings here in a little while, which are just going to make those Marines melt. And here we go, flying in, doing some good damage to this. And DRG is just doing exactly what you need to do as Zerg. If you're a lower level Zerg right now, even if you're higher level, keep in mind this is not what you want to do. You do not want to just straight up engage Marines. As much as he might have killed all those Marines, I feel like that was a pretty risky play by DRG. If more Marines had stimmed in there with medvacs, he could have lost a lot of Mutas right there. But instead, taking out a lot of SCVs, doing a lot of damage. And like I was saying, if you're a Zerg player, this is what you have to do against a turtled up Terran. You know, we've got these siege tanks all over the place. It makes it kind of hard to attack, but you still need to find those weak points. You need to find those little areas where you can poke and prod with these Mutas and keep the Terran from really pushing out. And time again, you know, take out a siege tank here and there. You don't always have to go for the SCVs and the command centers. Take out the siege tanks. The siege tanks are going to be what they use to counter against you with, to contain you with. And here we go. Marine King, oh, definitely overextending himself. And a beautiful surround by these Lings. This might be the nail in the coffin for Marine King. He's going to lose almost all of these medvacs. These Zerglings are just going to have a heyday. They're going to be able to take out this command center incredibly easily. I really don't see Marine King coming back from this. He's going to lose this base. DRG is up 2 expansions right now with a macro hatch, getting an infestation pit, and it looks like Marine King's going to go ahead and try for a drop. He wants to take out this expansion, keep DRG from having too much of a lead over him, and DRG just saying, you know what, suck it. I'm going to get a crap ton of banelings and bust down your door, and I'm going to rush into your base. And where did those... It looks like, yep, we've still got these medvacs flying in, but this whole time without those extra marines, DRG is going to be able to come in and just wreck this base. These are 2-0 mutas. They're going to just come in, and that glaive worm is going to chew those SCVs to bits. And here we go. Here's the drop. These are going to stim up almost immediately. Most likely going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to this base, but I would imagine not nearly enough. Those baneling hits, very good for DRG. He's going to wipe those marines clean. And look at this. Look at these banelings. They do 90 damage to structures. They're going to bust this down. This siege tank is not in siege mode. And here we go. The banelings moving in. And these marines do not want to be clustered up in these mineral lines. This is bad news for Marine King. DRG just plowing through that entrance. Taking out a ton of SCVs. And right now, Marine King basically has to push out these Marines. R2-2, so they'll do a ton of damage, especially with these mutas, especially against these mutas and with these medvacs to support. But he's not paying attention to his medvacs. Marine King might lose a couple here, and instead he's going to lose a lot of mules. That's incredibly frustrating as a Terran player, because these mules can bring in a ton of minerals, especially since he just lost all of those SCVs. And Marine King going to do his best to push out right here, but there are a lot of banelings here, and the siege tanks are not sieged in time, and the banelings not getting the best hits, but there weren't a lot of marines there in the first place. There's the WW, which for those of you who don't know is the good game in Korea, and what an amazing game. For those of you that are Zerg players, this is how you deal with a Terran. Now, I know this is DRG, he's a pro player, but this is what you do whenever you're playing against Protoss or Terran. You need to always be harassing. Do not allow yourself to sit back and try and just max out your army immediately and then attack them. You need to be poking and prodding all the time, because if they end up maxing out as fast as you do, which they definitely can if they put their minds to it, they're going to have the better army. A 200 supply Terran or Protoss army will be better than a 200 supply Zerg army. So you have to use your mobility, you have to use your mutalisks, you have to use all of your tools possible to keep harassing, keeping them from maxing up, and keeping them from being on equal bases. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Go out, use some of the things you saw, and tune in for Game 4.